Every single one of us is the product of billions of years of evolution. And while we do know every detail about how life on Earth got started or how it changed and adapted over millions of years, scientists have pieced together a pretty good picture of the major events that led to the rise of modern humans. So let us take a journey back in time and explore how life on Earth evolved over billions of years. Earth began as a fiery, lifeless planet over 4.5 billion years ago. Our story starts with a solar nebula, a giant cloud of dust and gas floating in space. One day this cloud, which contained mostly hydrogen and helium along with some heavier elements forged in the cores of long-dead stars, started to collapse in on itself due to increasing turbulence from nearby exploding stars. As the cloud collapsed, it heated up dramatically. And when I say dramatically, I mean temperatures reached over 10,000 degrees Celsius. At this point, Earth wasn't really Earth. It was more like a hot, molten ball of rock. The cloud had also formed a proto-sun, but there was still a lot of debris floating around. Eventually, most of this debris crashed into the hot rock below, forming a thick atmosphere. But not all the debris made it through the atmosphere. Some ended up orbiting the young planet. This leftover rocky material would later coalesce into our moon. But back to Earth, the intense rain cooled the surface enough for water vapor in the atmosphere to condense and fall as rain. Over millions of years, this intense rain washed away most of the light elements, like hydrogen and helium, from the atmosphere and deposited them into outer space. Meanwhile, heavier elements like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and neon formed Earth's first atmosphere and settled into the oceans. At the same time, Earth's early atmosphere was toxic and lacked free oxygen. Instead, it was full of gases like methane, ammonia, and hydrogen sulfide, which would be deadly to us today. It was also bombarded by UV radiation from the young and very bright sun. But there was life in these toxic waters. Scientists are still searching for answers about exactly how life emerged on Earth. But at some point, the first cells emerged in the oceans. These were simple prokaryotic cells without a nucleus or other membrane-bound organelles. They likely resembled modern bacteria and were likely heterotrophic, meaning they consumed organic matter for energy. But soon another type of prokaryote known as Cyanobacteria evolved. These organisms were capable of photosynthesis, which meant they could convert light energy, carbon dioxide, and water into chemical energy in the form of sugars. They also released oxygen as a byproduct. Initially, the oxygen produced by Cyanobacteria was quickly lost to space, because Earth's gravity was weaker than it is today, and its atmosphere had no ozone layer to speak of. However, as the planet cooled, the atmosphere thickened and the amount of oxygen began to increase. For a long time, though, the amount of oxygen was kept in check by the fact that it reacted with the abundant iron in the oceans, which precipitated out and formed large deposits of iron ore. Eventually, however, all the available iron reacted with the excess oxygen and the levels skyrocketed. Today we can see evidence of this in the form of banded iron formations, huge deposits of iron oxide that formed over 2 billion years ago when the oceans turned from reducing to larger, more complex cells called eukaryotes did emerge, but multicellular organisms were rare. Then around 540 million years ago, life exploded in what's called a Cambrian Explosion. Scientists aren't entirely sure what triggered this rapid diversification, but in a relatively short period of time, most of the major animal phyla we know today appeared in the fossil record. Some of the first animals to crawl up on land were relatives of modern amphibians. However, these early tetrapods weren't great at moving around on land. They needed to stay close to water to stay moist, but this didn't stop some species from experimenting with life on land during the Devonian period, which lasted from around 419 to 359 million years ago. One of these creatures was a fish with stumpy fins called tick. Its fins could support its weight on land, and it had eyes on top of its head to see predators coming. While it wasn't fully terrestrial, it represents an important step toward life on land. Around 365 million years ago, the first four-footed vertebrates appeared. These were the first true tetrapods, a group that includes all four-footed vertebrates, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Not long after amphibians took over land, but this reign wouldn't last forever. During the late Triassic period, around 200 million years ago, a massive volcanic eruption in what is now the western United States caused dramatic climate change that led to the largest mass extinction in history. More than 75% of all species were wiped out, and many groups, including the dominant dinosaurs, were greatly reduced. But a small group of mammals known as proto-wombats managed to survive. These furry, small-eared mammals lived in burrows and had babies that stayed in their mother's belly longer than other mammals. This extra time in the womb allowed their brains to develop further. When the dinosaurs finally went extinct, mammals exploded in diversity and gave rise to many new groups and filled many ecological niches. Primates emerged around 55 million years ago. Early primates were small tree-dwelling creatures that survived by eating fruit and leaves. They had excellent vision, grasping hands and feet with opposable thumbs and big brains relative to their body size. The primate order split into two groups around 40 million years ago. One gave rise to the tarsiers, lemurs, and apes. The other led to the monkeys and, yes, humans. We're actually more closely related to gorillas than we are to chimps and bonobos. Chimps and bonobos are more closely related to each other than either is to us. And we diverged from our closest living relative, the chimpanzee, around 6 to 8 million years ago. But you might be wondering, where did the hominins come from? Hominins are the group that includes all the extinct and living members of the human lineage. Well, the story starts here with Sahelanthropus. This species is known from a single skull found in Chad that dates back 7 million years. While there's debate about whether it's a hominin, most anthropologists consider it to be the oldest member of the group. Around 4 million years ago, Sahelanthropus was replaced by Australopithecus, a forest-dwelling creature from Kenya. The fossils suggest it was bipedal, but it was probably still proficient in climbing trees. Shortly thereafter, the hominin genus Australopithecus emerged. This group thrived for over 1 million years and included some familiar faces like Lucy, a famous Australopithecus afarensis skeleton discovered in Ethiopia in 1976. Australopithecines were small, only about 4 feet tall, and had long arms, suggesting they spent a lot of time in the trees. Their pelvises were shaped in a way that seemed to indicate they were adapted for walking upright on the ground. But there was a problem. Their spines were curved like those of modern chimps and couldn't support a straight upright walk. Some scientists believe they spent time knuckle walking like chimps and only occasionally walked upright. Others think they walked upright much of the time, but not nearly as efficiently as we do. Either way, they were still adept climbers. In fact, one species was found with a broken hand and healed properly, which indicates that it climbed and brachiated in trees, similar to apes today. Unfortunately, none of the Australopithecines had particularly large brains. In fact, Lucy's brain was smaller than a shoe. But around 2.5 million years ago, a new player appeared, a hominin with a distinctly human-like body plan and a much bigger brain. Homo habilis means handyman, and they got that name because they were the first hominins associated with stone tools. Fossils of Homo habilis date from as far back as 2.4 million years ago to as recent as 1.65 million years ago. But it's unclear whether Homo habilis is actually the direct ancestor of modern humans. The oldest known member of the genus Homo is Homo ergaster, whose fossils date back to 1.9 million years ago. Homo ergaster is thought to be the first true human ancestor, and it may have been the first to live in social groups with overlapping territories. This allowed individuals to specialize in different tasks and develop new skills. Importantly, Homo ergaster may have been the first to leave Africa. Members of the species were found in Georgia and Spain, places that were much colder than Africa, so they must have developed new technologies and behaviors to survive. Homo erectus emerged around 1.8 million years ago and quickly spread throughout Africa, Asia, and Europe. It was taller, had longer legs and shorter arms than previous hominins, indicating it was well adapted for walking and running upright. Its brain was also much larger than previous hominins, although not quite as large as ours. Homo erectus was the first to use fire regularly and to hunt large animals. They used spears and other weapons made of bone or wood. Eventually, Homo sapiens emerged in Africa around 300,000 years ago. Initially, they shared the landscape with other hominins such as Homo neanderthal, becoming the only surviving human species. So there you have it, a very brief overview of the major events that led to the rise of modern humans. Life on Earth has come a long way from the first simple cells in the oceans. And while there's still a lot we don't know about the details of either, we can be grateful that we have so many incredible fossils that allow us to piece together this amazing story. How Homo sapiens came into being about 300,000 years ago. We will also learn how it gave birth to civilization. Before we start, please like and subscribe to stay updated. Let's go. About 300,000 years ago, early humans began to emerge in Africa with a much larger brain and the capacity for language, planning, and symbolic thought. This marked the beginning of the Homo sapiens era, the wise man who would one day walk on the moon and create artificial intelligence. But what was life like for our earliest ancestors? What sparked the incredible journey that led to the birth of civilization? And how did cooking play a role in all of this? Welcome to our series exploring the fascinating origins of our species and the remarkable events that shaped the course of human history. Join us as we uncover the secrets of the past and bring to life the incredible journey that led to the birth of civilization. According to studies, all modern humans can trace part of their DNA back to a woman known as mitochondrial Eve, who lived in Africa between 200,000 and 300,000 years ago. She is considered the common ancestor of all humans alive today. In the beginning, these early humans were hunter-gatherers living in small groups, constantly on the move in search of food and shelter. Their days were spent searching for food, and their nights were filled with the sounds of the forest and the danger of predators. Life was tough, but they were resilient and adaptable, using their intelligence and resourcefulness to survive in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. Despite the challenges they faced, these early humans had a strong sense of community and cooperation, working together to hunt, gather, and defend themselves against the dangers that lurked in the shadows. As time went on, these early humans began to develop new skills and technologies that helped them to adapt to their environment. They learned how to use sharper stones as tools and how to make weapons such as spears to help them hunt more effectively. They also discovered how to create and control fire, which provided them with warmth, light, and a way to cook their food. The ability to cook food was a game changer for early humans. Cooking not only made food more palatable, but also released energy that fueled brain growth. This increase in brain size allowed for the development of higher cognitive functions, including language, planning, and abstract thinking. As humans began to use language to communicate, they were able to share knowledge and ideas more effectively, which led to the development of more complex social structures and eventually the birth of civilization. Humans started living in caves or forests, and most of their time was spent searching for food. They hunted animals for food and occasionally ate fruit, nuts, and other plants. Since there was no agriculture yet, they had to keep moving from place to place following the food. Sometimes they encountered other groups of humans, and sometimes they fought with each other for food and territory. They didn't have any formal language, so they probably communicated through gestures, expressions, and repeated sounds. This may have been the origin of speech and storytelling. Humans used rocks and wood as tools, but gradually they became more sophisticated and invented new tools for hunting and gathering. They also started making simple weapons like spears, knives, and bows and arrows. In general, humans lived in small groups of about 20 to 50 people and were, meaning they moved from place to place. They didn't have any permanent homes, so they probably slept in caves or under trees. Humans probably didn't wear clothes at first, but later they started making simple clothing from animal skins. They also probably decorated their bodies with tattoos and ornaments made from natural materials. Humans probably had some kind of religion or belief system based on their observations of the natural world. They may have believed that natural phenomena like lightning and earthquakes were caused by supernatural beings or forces. They probably held rituals and ceremonies to try to influence the natural world and to appease any supernatural beings they believed in. Overall, life for early humans was likely very challenging and unpredictable. They faced constant threats from predators and other humans, and they had to be constantly on guard to survive. However, they were also incredibly resilient and adaptable, and they used their intelligence and creativity to overcome the challenges they faced. They developed new tools and technologies, and they learned how to cooperate and work together to achieve their goals. This laid the foundation for the development of civilization, and ultimately it led to the rise of humanity as we know it today. Early humans were able to build tools, develop communities, create art, and eventually reach the moon. Our journey from the wild to the age of AI is a testament to human resilience, curiosity, and the power of ever. Humans are known for their ability to adapt and change over time, and this has allowed us to thrive in a wide variety of environments. As humans continued to evolve, they began to develop more advanced tools and weapons, which allowed them to hunt larger animals and gather more resources. This led to the development of more complex social structures and the emergence of new technologies. For example, the invention of the wheel revolutionized transportation and trade, while the discovery of metals led to the creation of stronger and more durable tools and weapons. Another key factor in the development of humans was the ability to communicate through language. Language allowed humans to share knowledge and ideas, which led to the development of new technologies and innovations. It also enabled humans to form complex social bonds and cooperate in larger groups, which was essential for the development of cities and civilizations. Humans also developed agriculture, which allowed them to settle in one place and grow their own food. This led to the development of villages and eventually cities. Agriculture also freed up humans from the need to constantly move in search of food, which allowed them to pursue other activities such as trade, crafts, and art. Humans have also been driven by a desire to explore and expand their territory. This has led to the exploration and colonization of new lands, as well as the spread of human culture and influence around the world. The human population has grown rapidly over time, and this has led to the development of new social structures and institutions. As cities and civilizations grew, humans developed new forms of governmental law to maintain order and protect their interests. Humans have also been motivated by a desire for power and control. This has led to the development of empires and the pursuit of military dominance. The desire for power has also led to conflict and war, which have shaped the course of human history. Despite the challenges and conflicts that humans have faced throughout history, they have also made many remarkable achievements. Humans have developed some of the most advanced technologies and innovations in the world, and they have explored and colonized many parts of the planet. Humans have also made great strides in medicine and healthcare, which have improved the quality of life for billions of people. Humans have also developed complex religions and belief systems that have shaped their values and cultures. They have created works of art and literature that have inspired and entertained people for centuries. Overall, the story of humans is one of adaptation, innovation, and resilience. Humans have been able to thrive in a wide variety of environments, and they have overcome countless challenges throughout history. Their ability to communicate, cooperate, and explore has led to the development of new technologies, innovations, and civilizations, while humans have also been driven by a desire for power and control, which has led to conflict and war. Despite these challenges, humans have made remarkable achievements in technology, medicine, art, and other fields. As humans continue to evolve and adapt, they will undoubtedly face new challenges and opportunities. Their ability to innovate, cooperate, and explore will shape the course of their future and determine what lies ahead for our species. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment and like the video. Subscribe for more content like this. Stay tuned for more videos and catch you in the next one.